Coming up, we have stories about wedding uninvitations, reckless car purchases, better not be about me, bachelor party drama, graduation presents or lack thereof, baby name drama, friends getting kicked out, family roommate drama, and a couple of fresh cake stories. Meanwhile, Tony Spark and Candy Thunder are over here watching Taylor live, even after they promised they wouldn't do that during the stream. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. Am I the astronaut for not getting upset after I was uninvited to my friend's wedding by the bride? This happened over the weekend, but there's still so much tension. One of my good friends, Matthew, 26 male, is getting married next month to Jennifer, 26 female. I, 25 female, have known Matthew since high school. We've both connected when it comes to video games, especially Minecraft. Matthew has had his fair share of girlfriends over the years, but when he met Jennifer 3 years ago, he said that he knew she was the one, and they are madly in love with each other, and I am so happy for them both. Last year, Matthew popped the question to Jennifer, and she said yes. Jennifer's demeanor towards me drastically changed after the engagement. She was distant towards me, she wouldn't look at me, and she would hardly speak to me, which was weird since Jennifer was always so sweet and nice towards me. I'd still talk to Matthew and meet with him and our group of friends sometimes with Jennifer, and she would still act cold and not speak to me much. I kept my distance from Jennifer. 3 months ago, we all received a save-the-date invitation, and their wedding is going to take place in Matthew's cabin 2 hours away, and they were going to keep it small due to the size of the cabin, so we were only allowed to bring one guest. That was when Jennifer acted extremely harsh and hostile towards me and said, "Bet you don't have a +1 since you were so into my man." Well, there's a red flag. And to this point, it for no reason other than them continuing with the same friendship that they've had for a long time. So as far as we know, nothing done to change her attitude towards OP. I was taken aback. I asked her what the she was talking about, and she smirked and said I knew and to not act stupid. I ignored her remark and told her my boyfriend was coming. She looked surprised and left. I, of course, told Matthew about what Jennifer said to me, and he was not happy, and he made her apologize to me. Okay. Then last weekend, I was invited by Matthew's sister to go dress shopping with her and Jennifer. I declined at first because I wanted to keep my distance from Jennifer, but Matthew's sister assured me that she will deal with Jennifer and that our friends will be there for us. So we went dress shopping, and I found a beautiful dress that I thought would be perfect, and I took a picture to send to my boyfriend since he planned on matching, i.e. with the bow tie, with me. I tried the dress on, and it was a perfect fit, so I guess I got lucky. Jennifer was angry, called me names such as a hooer, a boyfriend stealing biznatch, and that I was officially uninvited to the wedding. She caused such a commotion, the employee of the store asked us to leave. I told Jennifer I didn't want to come to the wedding anyway, but I was going because my friend was getting married. I told her if she didn't want me at the wedding, fine. I don't give a since I won't go to a wedding if the bride is going to be so rude to a guest. Matthew and our friends found out, and I was getting texts left and right begging me to just come to the wedding. I told them I was happy to get uninvited and that I'll just spend the day with my boyfriend on the day of the wedding instead. They're all mad at me for not fighting hard enough. Am I the astronaut? Okay, there's an edit and an update. Let me get into the edit first before we start chatting here. Edit. So my decision is final. I will not be going to the wedding, and there's no changing my mind about it. I will be sending a wedding gift to Matthew the day prior to the wedding instead. I told Matthew and all of my friends that I won't be going, and they can't convince me otherwise. Matthew also called me and asked if we could talk somewhere. I agreed, but it's to tell him in person that I won't go, so that way he knows I'm serious about that. Okay, let's chat for a second before we dive into the update here. Yeah, the question was, am I the astronaut for not getting upset after I was uninvited? So, I mean, why would you want to be in a place where the person who's hosting the event, one of the people hosting the event, and arguably the main character of the day, hates your guts? You would be made to feel very unwelcome, and I guarantee you every bridesmaid girl she had in her army would go out of their way to treat you like shit that day. Why would you want to go? I think the bigger question here is, why does everybody else want her to when they know that the bride has such a problem with it? What do they... No good could come of this. I mean, he wants her there because he's her friend. I feel like this comes down to the groom. This comes down to the groom. He is allowing his bride to treat his bestie this way. Not that he can control her, but I feel like it's his duty to defend her and to say, hey, don't treat my friend like that. Why? To get some kind of explanation, to not just allow it to happen. He's just allowing this toxic relationship to form or to continue here. And he's just standing back like, this sucks. Not doing a damn thing about it. Shouldn't he do something about it? Oh, sassy one, that would have been the perfect response. I'm good. I'll catch the next one. That's where I'm confused. I'm confused about the groom's inaction here. There were lots of things that confused me about this, most of which is the groom's behavior or inaction, and the rest of it is the support network, the rest of the friends really leaning into OP and saying, no, we just want you to come, even though they know it will cause problems. If it got bad enough for them to get kicked out of a dress shop, you think the fact that they're going to be in a church or at some kind of venue where they're doing a wedding is going to prevent the bride from causing a scene? I don't think so. If anything, she's going to be more amped up to cause a scene that day. The risk is heightened. We went NTA. We're NTA right now. Let's dive into the update and see if that changes anything. Update. I met with Matthew and brought my boyfriend along. Smart. Of course, he begged me to come to the wedding, and he said he would beg Jennifer to let me attend. I told him it was best if I wasn't there. I told Matthew that Jennifer had a problem with me, period. He said he didn't understand, and he did ask her many times, but Jennifer would continue to say that she was just stressed. Single out one person when you're stressed? That's not healthy. I got angry and said that's bullshit, and he knows that. My boyfriend also intervened and said to Matthew that he needs to wake up and realize Jennifer is crazy, and he can't keep defending her. Matthew said he loves her too much and doesn't want to lose her. My boyfriend and I got up and told Matthew to let us know when he has a backbone. In the meantime, it's best we don't talk. I messaged all of our friends in the group to let them know, and I'm keeping my distance from Matthew because of Jennifer. He's still my friend, but at an arm's length. I will still be sending him a gift regardless, but I'm keeping my distance from Matthew. It seems like he's in denial and can't comprehend what's going on at all. He usually is in denial. Ever since high school, he has had a sense of denial. Which is like generally. Another thing to mention is that Jennifer is nice to all of Matthew's female friends, just not with me. Okay, that's different. I've also gotten a message from 2 of our friends saying they have dropped out of attending the wedding because of Jennifer and that they're on my side. Oh, sweet. She's forming an alliance. Edit 2, Jennifer already bought her wedding dress a while ago. When I went dress shopping with Matthew's sister, she invited Jennifer as a way to resolve this animosity she has towards me. So it was Matthew's sister who wanted to buy a dress, and I found a dress that I loved, and Jennifer went crazy. Hope that clears things up since so many were confused. You know who's going to get to chime in on this and give us some feedback? Do you know? Can we get some feedback? Candy Thunder, can we get some feedback? Oh my God, it's Candy Thunder!
Hi, everyone.
There she is.
So I did look at the story to make sure that to see if there were any updates or anything like that.
Sorry.
And one of the comments said that Jennifer had her breakdown after Matthew's sister complimented her and told her that the dress looked amazing. And so I think there's got to be something here with the way that OP looks and the way that Jennifer feels about her looks. If that came after she was complimented. So I think there's probably something that's being left out about
self-image or just direct jealousy. Okay, let's entertain this for a second. Potential recipe ingredients for disaster here.
Yeah.
They're really close, OP and Matthew, right? So maybe Matthew talks about OP in a positive light often. That's danger ingredient number 1.
Well, I mean, it sounds like they're fairly close. And I don't think that, here's the thing, if you're insecure as a person, I don't think it matters what Matthew says, because you're going to read into every single detail that he says, because you're so insecure that all you can see is this narrative that you've created in your head. So she thinks in her mind that OP poses some threat to her relationship. So 1, she's not secure in her relationship. She's not secure in the way that she looks. And insecurities can definitely ruin somebody's life. And it sounds like Jennifer is letting those just completely take control. And her marriage won't last. Her friendships aren't going to last. And like, just because somebody else is pretty doesn't mean that you're not pretty. I mean, that's just, somebody else's looks don't detract from the way that somebody else looks. Like, that's not You can't put that just because somebody else, you think that they're prettier than you, doesn't. It's very sad.
Follow-up question for you. To me, it makes absolutely no sense that this would heighten after getting engaged. It's like she should be less insecure as she gets closer to her wedding day. She won. What does she why would it become intensified after an engagement?
Because she solidified it. So it's like a dog peeing on their territory. And she's doing it to drive OP
She didn't have to
away.
Pretend anymore.
Correct. She got the ring, so now it's like, this is how I really feel. I need you to get the out because you're not welcome here.
She was just playing the long game to try to drive her out of their lives now that she won and got the ring. Wow.
It's I mean, no marriage could survive this. Like, no marriage could survive this amount of insecurity because Matthew's going to be working his ass off all the time to make sure that Jennifer feels loved. But if she doesn't love herself, that's never, like, you're never going to achieve that. He's never going to make her feel loved because she doesn't love herself. And that's clear if you go this crazy over somebody looking good in a dress. I peed on it. It's mine. That's right. I think
you've marked me several times.
I think something that might wake Matthew up is if I don't know what just said. I think something that might wake up Matthew is if the sister said, "I'm not going because what I witnessed was too far, and there was no reason for your bride to treat your friend this way." That would be, I think, a wake up call for Matthew to be like, this either has to stop and you need to figure stuff out, or this wedding is not going to happen. If you struggle with insecurities, I think one of the best things you can do is compliment other people and watch what happens when you compliment other people and like let that fill you up inside. Let that fill your cup, because I feel like it helps if you do struggle with insecurities about how whatever, your hair, your looks, like whatever that case is that you have, or if you don't feel loved, like I feel like complimenting other people, for me, that's what makes me feel better. And watching other people light up like with compliments, and like you give what you get. So if she was giving OP friendship and love, OP would return that 10 times over.
There it is.
She Delulu.
She gets the Delulu.
And
she
sucks.
Get the Bezzo?
I feel bad for her because I feel like this is all fixable and she just needs to get out of her own head and quit. Just quit it. Knock it off.
Yeah, because this probably isn't, her issues right now aren't specific to him, to her fiance.
Yeah.
She's going to have this recurring issue over and over
there's
and over
going to be
again
someone
until she
new.
fixes the problem.
Once
inside,
OP
right?
leaves the picture, there's going to be somebody else that's going to take OP's place, and that eye is going to be directed at someone else. And it's like,
the eye of Sauron is
true.
upon you.
But I'm like, he asked you to marry him. Like, he loves you. He chose you. Like, you chose each other. I don't know. I don't understand what more you need
she's
from
looking
this.
around like right now. She's like, who are all the potential side pieces? I need to eliminate them right now. I need to be the only option. But he has other female friends, and she's the only one that maybe she's the first one. Maybe that's how we need to look at it. She's not the only one. She's just the first one.
Or she's closer to that friend group or something. There's something there. But she's probably most threatened by OP. But as soon as OP is out of the picture, she's going to start having some kind of problem with number 2. You know what I mean? She's got her list, I'm sure. Hey, it's Dusty Thunder. I have a story for you. From the AITA subreddit. This one is titled, Will I Be the Astronaut If I Back Out of Helping My Sister Pay for a Car Because She Went and Got a $65,000 Jeep instead of what we originally agreed on? My sister, 18 female, is starting college this fall. She doesn't have a car, but will need one because she'll be commuting to school while living at home. At the beginning of the year, I, 27 male, told her that I'd help her pay for a car as a graduation gift, and I'd pay for the first $5,000 of her monthly payments. She has an almost full ride scholarship and is living at home, so this will probably be her only recurring bill outside of school fees and supplies. I did this so that when she started working, she could build as much of a savings net as possible if something came up. My parents, my sister, and I originally agreed on a max of $25,000 to $30,000. The car isn't meant to last her a decade. She's never owned a car before. This is her baby's first car.
It's supposed to be an affordable used car for a college kid to get around in. It should last her for college, and then she can figure out what to do from there. Well, I was lied to because she and my parents went out and bought a brand new Jeep yesterday. I am livid. My parents co-signed for her to get this. Not only did they buy a $65,000 brand new car, they financed a $10,000 down payment at an even higher APR for some reason. They like double financed it, financed the down payment, and then financed the car with that down. Okay. I've never heard of that. For some insight, my parents cannot afford this car themselves, and they can't even afford the new payments on the loan they got for the $10K. There's the reason I'm the one helping out with the payments on this, not them. My sister doesn't even have a job yet, which was supposed to be step one before we even got her the car. I'm livid. The $5K I had set aside for her won't even last the summer if we put it towards the car and loan payments. The whole reason I did this is now basically moot because she'll have to cover the payments while she's in school. You know, it's moot. It's a cow's opinion. You can't not say it when you see that word. You can't. You know this. My parents have good credit somehow, but they have zero cash at the end of each month. So I'm pretty sure once my $5K runs dry, the car will be repoed for non-payment in the next year or so. What boils my blood even more is they know I'm livid, but they don't care. Mom went on a whole hour about how my sister's eyes light up at the side of the car. And you would not have said no either if you were there. I'm a red flag on that. We had talked about this for months. My sister and parents both know 100% that she will not be able to afford this car, but they don't care now. I'm considering backing out. I'll tell them to return the car and we return to the original plan, or else I'll just invest the $5K in a 5-year bond for my sister. I want some opinions on this plan. Here's an edit real quick. Quick clarification. My gift tour was a total of $5K that was to be used for monthly payments. The way I worded it was weird, I think, originally. I did not promise to help with the down payment or anything else fee related. She had savings to cover that. I was going to pay the first $5K of monthly payments after that. Edit 2 and update. I'm going to go ahead and get into this now. Some people are asking why the original car purchase price we decided of 35 or 25K to 30K was so high. I agree that's pretty high for an unemployed college kid. That was meant to be an absolute max that you need to think very carefully about, total fees included. I was encouraging them to go for 10 to 15K, but was talked up to a 25 to 30K max. I also just got confirmation that the Jeep deal was finalized yesterday. There's no returning the Jeep. I was mistaken about how used versus new cars are treated with cool down period laws. She and my parents are screwed. Thanks for the advice so far. Got to think this over tonight and figure out how much of this circus I want to be a part of. She and the parents. So when you read the title and you're like, wow, why would the sister do that? The parents really facilitated all this buggery, whatever you want to call it. They facilitated all this. The parents are the real problem here. If the parents are like, well, you can get the Jeep if you want it, what kid is going to be like, nah? Them saying you wouldn't have said no to her either because of the way her eyes lit up. Well, shit. Take her to a Porsche dealership. Her eyes will light up there too. Does that mean you're going to buy one? Your parents are powerless because this is their baby, and they will knowingly drive themselves into poverty to make her smile. And while it's a noble sentiment, the practicality of it just doesn't exist. And now they're trying to drag you down with them. OP. I'd say shit, no, back out. Now, to clarify, what you mean when you say back out is not like, I'm just keeping the 5K. No, you're still setting it aside and putting it in a 5-year bond for her that she'll get in 5 years. You're not taking it away from her. You're parlaying that or deferring it to a later time when she surgically removes her head from her ass, which is only going to happen when she gets away from your parents. I think it's kind of like, a lot of things are like this. I use this analogy when talking about being a photographer and growing as a photographer, but it really applies to any skill set. It's like becoming like a swordsman, right? They don't give you the nice, fancy, bougie, pointy, sharp sword to start with. They give you a stick. As a driver, you need to start with the stick, and you can grow from that as you want to. But this, if anything, they're putting more risk, not just the financial risk that they've assumed themselves, but they've now put a $65,000 vehicle on the road that they probably can't afford to fully insure. And inevitably, something's going to happen at some point and they're not going to be able to fix it. And then they're in a whole other bucket of trouble. So no, do not go down with them. I'm saying this is an NTA. would not be the astronaut for backing out. It is a complete deviation from what you talked about. And you, if you continued participating here, would just be funding more risk and funding the wrong direction of your sister's life when your original intention with the gift was to fund the right direction, fund a direction that is of safety and security. And you would only be funding fuel for the opposite direction right now. You're going to have to explain that. And I feel like you probably already have, but you're going to have to keep explaining it, because over time, if they're not hearing that message, you're just going to be the villain. And then when shit gets taken away, it's probably going to be your fault, according to them. So I would keep seeding that narrative often, and they're going to hate you for repeating it, but you're going to have to repeat it. Oof. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder, and I have another story for you. This one involves cake, somehow. Will I be the astronaut if I told my stepdad I don't want his friend to decorate my mom's birthday cake? Is it like friend? There's no quotation marks around friend, but I feel like there might be quotation marks around the friend. I, 23 female, am a cake decorator at a grocery store bakery. I learned to decorate almost 3 years ago from 2 amazing cake decorators. I also bake and decorate from home. My aunts and uncles have celebrated their 50th birthday over the last couple of years, and I have been the one to do their cakes for their 50th birthdays. And I absolutely love doing it. It gives me more practice with my baking from home with different flavors. I should also mention that I do not charge them for the cakes that I make, nor for the supplies that I use. So here's the issue. My mom is going to be turning 50 in 5 months, and I was already thinking of ideas for her cake. I was thinking of doing 50 photos of her on the cake for every year she's been alive. My stepdad, let's call him John, 60, and I were talking about the cakes, and he said, "Oh, you won't have to worry about mom's cake. Mandy's going to do it." Mandy, 58, is John's friend's girlfriend, and she is a cake decorator too, but has a small cake business where she pretty much works from home and has many more years of experience. John also had Mandy decorate a cake for my grandma's, on my mom's side, 80th birthday this past year. I was sad about not being able to do that for my grandma, but I put my feelings to the side since I know he placed an order for it way ahead of time. I know he really likes Mandy's decorating. He's always talking about her cakes, and my parents buy butter in bulk when they are on sale for her. I think he sees my decorating as inferior to hers. This is your dad? Talking up somebody else's cake decorating when he knows that you have a passion in that and you're working on that? That's not cool, Dad. I was hurt that he didn't think I would want to do my mom's cake, or maybe couldn't do as good of a job as Mandy, but I feel like it would have meant more to my mom if I did her cake. My family, when I did each of their cakes, all asked me to do their 50-year cakes, and I know many of them have friends who are also cake decorators, but they still ask me to do their cakes because it meant more coming from their niece. So, will I be the astronaut if I told my stepdad I don't want his friend to decorate my mom's birthday cake because I would like to do it myself? I don't know if my mom specifically asked to have Mandy do her cake or if it was a decision that John made on his own. I worry my mom could possibly have been the one to request the cake to be made by Mandy, and if she did, then I want her to have the cake that Mandy makes. I don't want to make her birthday not good because I made this one small issue all about me, but if she didn't, then I feel like I should be the one to make it. Well, there's only one way to find that out, and yeah, stepdad, not dad. I was very, very disappointed in Dad. If this was bio dad, it would be worse. Him being a stepdad doesn't make it any better. It's not good. I'll put it that way. Regardless of bio or bonus. It's not cool. But there's only one way to receive the intel that you're looking for here. You can't go up to mom and be like, "Hey, was it your idea to hire Mandy to decorate your cake?" Because then you have to explain everything. There's no way to not tip your hand here. I guess you have to just make this determination for yourself. Is it worth bringing up to your mom? Or you could ask your stepdad and be like, "Hey, so the cake that Mandy's doing, that's probably the play." Ask him privately away from her and say, "Hey, the cake that Mandy is doing, was that mom's idea or was that your idea?" You're going to tip your hand to him, but if you're going to tip your hand to anybody, I think he's the one that you want to fill in on everything. It at least hedges against the risk of mom getting upset, right? So will I be the astronaut if I told my stepdad that I don't want his friend to decorate my mom's birthday cake? Actually, yeah, a little bit. And here's why. I think there's a different way to do it. I think there is a should have done it differently kind of precedent here, because it's not just a could have. The question needs to be different. If you did just ask that and said, hey, I don't want your friend's girlfriend to do this, there's a better way to do it. And that question is what we talked about, and say, hey, was that your idea or was it mom's? It is not as brazen jumping into battle here, right? And when it comes to the cake, if your mom did make that decision and you word it the way that you worded it here in the title, yeah, you're going to end up being an asshole. If you approach this carefully and just gather intel before saying, I want or I don't want, that's the pivot when you become an asshole here. And it's not an asshole, it's an ask on 3. There's a better way. There is a better way. Ask mom, hey, dad said Mandy's making the cake. Did you want me to do it or to get anything? There you go, Jenny. I mean, that would be a route that would probably, if she didn't make that decision and she wanted Mandy to do it, it would cause some tension between stepdad and mom. But maybe that's a good thing, because he's just making these rogue decisions that actually hurt his stepdaughter's feelings. There's a better way no matter what. Yeah, no matter what, there's a better way. So I think we're good with 3 here. Suppose who to talk to depends on the relationship she has with stepdad Sierra. Yeah, and it sounds like at this point, if anybody is looking down on her decorating, it's him. So why wouldn't you ask that question and at least tip your hand to him? And if he gets upset, so what? He's not afraid to do things that make you upset. So maybe you can contain it within those 2 people. Or if you put it in your mom's court and then say, yeah, dad said Mandy was doing it. Do you need me to do anything? You at least play it a little more clandestine there. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. This one's from the AITA subreddit and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Refusing to Give My Stepdaughter a Graduation Present? I, 48 male, have been married to my wife, 43 female, for 6 years. She has a daughter, 18 female, from a previous relationship who I'll call Amy. Amy just graduated high school last week. For months, my wife kept asking me what I planned to give Amy for a graduation gift. I told her I didn't plan on getting Amy anything since she's not my biological daughter and we've never been particularly close. 6 years. Amy has made it clear over the years that she doesn't really see me as a father figure, which is fine, but it has meant we've never built much of a bond beyond basic politeness when living under the same roof. Well, my wife was furious when I said I wouldn't be getting a gift. She accused me of never making an effort with Amy and playing favorites since I gave my own daughter, 22 female, a nice graduation gift a few years ago. I tried explaining that's different since my daughter is, well, my actual daughter who I raised from birth. Amy overheard the argument and started crying, saying I obviously don't care about her at all. My wife doubled down that not giving her daughter a gift for this milestone was unbelievably hurtful and disrespectful. In my view, I'm not obligated to give gifts to kids who frankly don't want me involved in that role. But now I've got my wife and stepdaughter thinking I'm being massively insensitive. So Reddit, am I the astronaut here? Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. But also, I'm confused because you guys are not a team at all. I would think that there would be a conversation and a mutual decision made on both. If she gave her daughter a big present and that happened like before you guys got married or right as you got married, if something was already planned, that's something. But if you're giving something to her together, why are you still acting as individuals? That's my question. I know some people do that and you do you, whatever works. But this is one of the complications. Now you're pitted against each other instead of a united front. This could have all been avoided with some communication that wasn't done in front of your kid or her kid, according to you. It's just odd. It's odd to me. And it could have prevented so much. Yeah, what are we going to give her for graduation? So the wife came in like, what are you getting her for graduation? So she's not helping anything. They're both acting as individuals. Brittany, yeah, blended families require teamwork, period. They're just acting as individuals. I wish we knew if Amy got OP's daughter a nice graduation gift a few years ago, but it might have been before then. I don't know. But yes, OP, you are an asshole. But so is your wife here. This is an ESH. It's an everyone sucks here because y'all aren't communicating at all. There's no communication here. The only communication is like too late, or it's accusatory. You know what I mean? It's what are you gonna do? You. What are you doing? What are you doing for this? You did this for that. You have to do this for that. Ugh. We need to reevaluate how we are doing everything here and stop operating as if we are not married. If you wanted to continue operating as individuals, why the f did you get married? And when you marry somebody, you marry everything they got. It's not optional. You have another daughter now. At least it should be to me. Jenny, yeah, oh, for sure. If this is separate, their finances are separate too, for sure. Not asshole for not getting present, but asshole for being roommates. And I think the whole thing is I think their ire and probably his are misplaced right now. The problem isn't the present. The problem is the entire structure of your marriage. The communication, the individualism. What are you doing? Do you live in separate homes too? They're neighbors. Brittany, literally write a book on blended families and I'm buying both my parents' copies. Kimberly, if they clearly treat him like he's not her dad, then he's not her dad at gift time either. I understand that. And as putting myself in his position here, though, you never have the mission of replacing dad. You never have the mission of filling a position that's not vacant. It is a new position. Bonus dad is a new position. And their circle grows and your heart grows. It's not politics. You're not trying to take a seat. You're not running for election. You are not trying to get anybody fired. It is growing a network. So their viewpoint, or OP's viewpoint here, which was like, she clearly didn't, want me as a father figure, so I just didn't give a fuck, basically. Like, then you missed out on so much. Because yeah, you're not gonna be dad, and you don't want to be dad. You get to be bonus dad, and it's a completely different kind of relationship. But he just didn't try to build on anything there. He's like, oh, since I'm an older dude and she's a younger girl, it's your father-daughter, and if it ain't that, it's nothing. That sucks for you. Sucks for your whole family. Sucks for her too. And I think you've massively screwed up here. And again, it's the whole individual approach. It's the memes. Like, everybody's got a case of the memes here. And everybody sucks. The daughter, she just overheard their idiotic bickering, and it involved her. So of course she got hurt about it. She's not lumped in with this ESH. This is a OP and his partner suck. Figure it the out. Okay. And you're probably not going to be able to do that on your own. So I would highly recommend getting into some counseling, because navigating these feelings and trying to get the spaghetti mess unwound is going to take some work. It's going to take some help. So. Hey, it's Dusty Thunder, and I've got another Reddit story for you. This one comes from the AITA subreddit and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Siding with My Sister for Refusing to Name Her Son After Her Husband? Hey everybody, formatting may be off because I'm on mobile. So my sister, 23 female, is pregnant with her first child with her husband, my brother-in-law, 23 male. They recently found out they're having a boy, and everyone, including me, 21 female, are very happy. However, they've had a big fight recently because my brother-in-law wanted the son to be named after him. I don't know if they meant literally just his name, if they're planning to add a junior or have it to be an inspired nickname, but the point is, he wants the boy to be named after him. My sister blatantly and completely refused to even consider it, and both families have gotten involved. My parents initially thought they should reach a compromise, and so did his. However, they changed opinions when she explained her reasoning. She said that she thinks that after she's going to carry a boy for 9 months and go through all of the pain and exhaustion of pregnancy, she thinks it's insulting that he should be honored by naming a child after him when he didn't do all the work. She also said she thinks that naming a child after their parents strips them of their identity and makes them seem like property too, so she would never do it regardless. So once again, the family suggested a compromise, maybe a reference to him or a name he liked, etc. But she just doubled down that she would never consider naming a child she labored over for her husband, who does nothing but gets the snacks in any respect. Now, I agree with her completely and thought her logic made sense, but both parents are very offended by her and say she has no respect for her husband. Her husband tried to talk to me personally and was furious and told me I was enabling her cold mentality when I said that I supported her. So am I the astronaut for supporting my sister's reasoning for not naming her son after her husband? There's a little response from OP at the end, but it's post feedback. So let's talk feedback here. It keeps getting worse, right? I mean, Keely, yeah, I agree. Here in the beginning, I was like, well, I mean, I get it. You're doing all the work of, growing the baby. Hopefully, hold up, time out. Hopefully you're not doing all of the work. I understand you're growing the baby. You have to push the baby out. Like it's incredibly taxing for your body, and you're doing what should be like 99.9999999% of the work. Hopefully he's stepping up is what I'm saying. Hopefully he's stepping up and being active and being engaged and is involved and isn't just sitting on the couch drinking beer, eating Cheetos, and then saying, you better name that biscuit after me, babe. You know what I mean? Hopefully he's stepping up. Hopefully he's stepping up and he's involved. But this sure seems like almost a worldview stance that as a couple, you want to get to and discuss before you're having a baby. How far along was she? How far into this are they? She's pregnant. They recently found out. Okay, so they found out the sex of the baby. How far in does that happen? Because it recently happened. 3 months? Too far already. 20 weeks. 13 weeks? 20 weeks? Okay, so they're just now getting to the point where they're like, oh shit, those are your beliefs. Okay. This is going to be a tough one to navigate through. I understand her logic at first for wanting to do that, but then it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse to the point where she's just completely disregarding his existence, basically treating him just as a sperm donor. And if that's who he is, that's one thing, but he's at least there. And if he is involved, it is, my worry here is that this is a precursor to a much more complicated rest of your life, bro. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to be carved out of everything and you're just going to be insignificant, then life is going to get a lot more complicated. Maybe OP doesn't know the whole story. I mean, there's got to be for her to. My problem with the whole situation is that they're just now getting to the point where they're discovering each other's worldviews oppose each other, and it's at a very inconvenient time in their journey, right? It's like, well, shit. This would have been good to know a long time ago. No matter what, it doesn't sound like the baby's going to be named after him in any way, shape, or form. That's not really the problem. I think he would like for that to happen. He's going to have to suck it up and deal with that not happening because it's a 2 yes, 1 no kind of structure when it comes to kid names anyway. But according to her, it's not a 2 yes, 1 no. It is a dictatorship. And my worry is that it's going to be a dictatorship for everything forever. And it's really hard to have a successful relationship when there's only one person in it. You know what I mean? Like this is a signal to a much more complicated situation. And it is raising the child. It is being involved. It is everything. Starts right here. And if she's the only one who gets a vote, y'all aren't going to last. Figure it out. So there's going to have to be some communication through this. How she's doubling down and just not even willing to have discussions, to have civilized discussion with anybody, and is completely disregarding of his existence or opinion and only values her own. Yes, that does make her an asshole. As it comes to this situation, I understand her logic behind things, but it is how she's doing it that is completely disregarding of the person that she's supposed to love and is hopefully planning on raising this child with. So yeah, she turned herself into an asshole here. Leslie, you think I'm reading a lot into it? Well, that's my job. And he doesn't get a vote. I mean, listen, the way that she did this, I mean, after we edit it and post it up or go find the story, the title was, Am I the astronaut for siding with my sister for refusing to name her son after her husband? No, it is. It gets a lot more isolating as it goes on. I think she does get there. Whether or not she has bad intentions with this, I think she just has very strong opinions, but she's going to have to get used to working as a team and valuing her partner's opinion because they're going to have a child together. Prior to this and living as a married couple, you can survive to an extent thinking the way that she does. When you're trying to raise a child together and co-parent well, whether you're together or not, you're going to have to become a little bit more permeable and respectful of other people's thoughts. That's what I'm thinking here. So I I think it is a should have done it differently. I'm not making her a huge asshole here. I think it is a should have done this differently. If these are her feelings, they aren't as strong as we're thinking they are, then approach it in a less strong way. Having a rational conversation with someone about this rather than just planting a flag and saying, F everyone, that's probably more of the play. I mean, everybody else in the story, aside from OP and Mama here, are pitching compromise, and they're not. You know what I mean? They can find a name they both like. For sure. For sure. Am I the astronaut for yelling at my fiance's friend and kicking him out? I, 28 female, and my partner, 28 male, have been together for 10 years. We have lived together for 8 out of the 10 years and have grown up together. We have supported each other and have seen each other through the hardest and happiest situations, from being broke 19 to 20-year-olds, having their first apartment with little money, to family deaths, to getting our first pet, graduating university, and excelling in our careers. We are not the most lovey-dovey in terms of PDA, but have a great relationship and show a lot of affection and appreciation behind closed doors. We also both have had an exhausting year, both physically and mentally, but have still managed to keep ourselves positive throughout. We love to poke fun at each other, and our banter can seem intense to those on the outside. However, we have known each other's friends and family for so long that it usually doesn't warrant any comments other than good friends joining in on busting some chops. The drama started last night. It was Game 7 of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and my fiance's team was fighting for their spot to go to round 2. My fiance is not the most social, but has a few close friends, and I often encourage him to reach out to them, despite him usually being exhausted. His close friend asked to come over and watch the game and have a few drinks. The friend initially said they would be over around 2 p.m., so we frantically got the house cleaned. I went to pick up some snacks and beer for them when I came home to hear my fiance say the friend wouldn't be over for a while. I don't mind since I had to swing by my parents' house for a bit and was planning on letting them catch up while I read or did some work in the other room. When I got back from my parents, the friend had arrived and had already had a few beers. My fiance doesn't usually drink and often enjoys a joint while socializing. I hung out for about 30 minutes, had a drink, and asked what the two wanted for dinner and suggested takeout. My only catch was that they had to decide what to get, as I didn't want to make any more decisions because I was drained. My fiance's friend looked at me and said, "How's your relationship going?" I was puzzled and was like, "Fine, pretty sure we're great. I just don't have the mental capacity to cook and clean, etc., since I usually take on more of the domestic load." His friend proceeded to tell me that he is noticing contempt in the relationship and has been feeling it for a long time. At first I laughed because I had misheard and said everyone feels content in relationships, but that usually means they are settled and feel a good sense of comfort. He repeated that no, he meant contempt. Then he proceeded to say, "This is awkward for me too." I was shocked and awkwardly laughed. I got up and went to my bedroom. My fiance clearly heard what he said because as I got up, he mouthed to me, "Are you okay?" It hadn't fully registered to me what had happened. I started to cry and used the excuse that I had to take my neighbor's dog out, true, then called my sister to meet me. I was gone for 1 hour, no calls, texts, or follow-ups. At first, I was more frustrated with a friend, but then got angry or concerned that my partner hadn't stood up to him, and that maybe this was something he had said in confidence. I texted my partner saying that we should go to a bar or ask the friends to leave because we clearly needed to talk. I heard nothing. Like I said earlier, I encouraged my fiance to reach out to his friends because he is a caveman with technology, so I didn't doubt his phone was out of reach or eyesight. I was frantically getting more upset because I felt disrespected and blindsided. I called 10 times. When I got home from the walk, I ran into my room and slammed the door. I heard the friend say, "Shit," with another snarky remark under his breath. I then screamed at him through the door to get out if he wants to talk shit. Not my finest moment. I would normally give myself the ability to approach this calmly and head on. However, after having no backup, no communication, and no idea of what the heck had happened, I snapped. My partner felt awful and did not communicate this feeling to his friend, but also just tried to justify, saying his friend says dumb things all the time and has since they were kids. He's used to it. I told him that wasn't an excuse and that he needs to stand up if he can also sense that something was unhinged. I am embarrassed for reacting how I did, but also know that I acted out of feeling insecure. So am I the astronaut for yelling at my partner's friend to get out? Other relevant info, my partner and I broke up in year 4 of our relationship, and this same friend was the first to kick me out of all the group chats and talk shit to my partner. I think that part of my reaction was feeling like this friend has never been authentic with me. However, I am happy that my partner has a friend who clearly loves him, but since we are getting married, I want to make sure that people are supportive of our future. So the question is, am I the astronaut for yelling at my fiance's friend and kicking him out? And here to chime in on this one is the one and only Candy Thunder. Not in a spacesuit, which is extremely dangerous in this atmosphere. Are you going to be okay? Yeah.
I think I'll make it.
There we go. Okay. I will give you my oxygen if I need to.
Yeah, I'll breathe my oxygen.
Do you want the helmet?
Conserve my breath. No, I do not want the helmet.
Are you sure you don't want the helmet?
I'm 100% sure. 110. What is going on here? I'm like, this is a lot. That's a lot to unpack.
If I had a random friend come over and sit down and they said this kind of shit.
I mean, I think everyone in chat who's been here before knows what I would say. So I'd be like, excuse me? What just came out of your mouth? And then I would look at Dustin and be like, handle it. Your friend, handle it. And by the time I returned to the room, I would hope that the friend was no longer there.
I would hope that it would have already been handled by me.
You would say something. You would be like, excuse me?
If somebody was talking that kind of madness in our home, I'd be like, whoa.
You don't get to comment on the contempt in our relationship. You want to ask Dustin why there's contempt in our relationship? Go right ahead. What did he do?
Did you see the fear in my eyes? I'm scanning my memory for the past few days, being like, oh shit, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do?
Yeah, I mean, to me, to not even say a word, to not answer the phone calls, to not address the friend, it seems to me that the fiance said something to the friend. And like, I don't know. I would be extremely uncomfortable. And everybody has that feeling like at the end of the day, you don't want to decide what's for dinner. Like, you don't want to make those decisions because you're literally mentally drained. Like, you don't have any more decisions in you left to make. And I understand where she was feeling. And it just to say, well, my friend says dumb things all the time and has since we were kids. Like, no, that's not, it's not
enabling.
Okay.
It's enabling the problem, which is definitely not okay. It seems like the friend was maybe token on something too. And if they both flew too close to the sun and were just talking crazy shit, that's one thing.
Right.
But the fact that he soberly after the fact was like, oh, he just says crazy shit all the time. But it doesn't matter. I mean, nothing justifies him crossing a line like he did and your partner not stopping it and just letting it happen.
I would be pissed and I would feel like you didn't have my back in that situation if that was us. This would never happen because you would stop it as soon as it happened. And my head would turn around so fast and be like, what? Not in my house. Not in my house.
If I'm having an insightful conversation with somebody about relationships, I'm gonna talk. So it sounds like her partner just sat there and just let this guy talk his ass off the whole time. But I'd be like, I mean, why do you think that? Because I feel like we're in a really good spot. We do this and this and this together. It would be a conversation, not somebody just on a soapbox talking to hear themselves talk. And it seems like that's who the friend is. The friend is the kind of guy who just wants to hear himself talk.
I'm like, what kind of relationship does this friend have? Is he married? Does he have like a long-term girlfriend? Because I think the friend is single. That's just my 2 cents.
He's the guy that
thinks he knows everything, but literally has no experience.
There's a reason he's single. It's because of the shit that he's doing right now. Yeah. He's just actively repelling people, except for the few people in his life that are just like, he's just weird.
And also this friend, like she said when they broke up in year 4, that this friend was the first one to remove her from...
Yeah, all the group chats and stuff.
And if that had happened and then this happened, like, to me, that person would not be welcome in our home. Okay, he's taking off the suit. Yeah, so I wouldn't tolerate someone doing that to Dustin in my house, and I don't think Dustin would tolerate someone doing that to me in our house. I think that's just... It's a very, very weird dynamic.
Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder again with another Reddit story for you. This one comes from the AITA subreddit and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Moving Out of My Parents' House When My Brother and His Family Moved In? There was a whole lot of unnecessary backstory I will leave out. I rented my parents' house after they retired and moved south. I paid slightly below market rate. The plan was for me to save up and eventually buy the house at a great price. They would then give that money to my brother as his part of their estate. My share was the subsidized rent and the very subsidized purchase agreement. Everyone thought this was fair until my brother's wife started running up debts they couldn't cover. This led to them losing their home and needing help. I love my brother and my nephews, so when my mom asked me if they could move in, I talked to my husband and we agreed. We are in the process of adopting 2 siblings, but we are not there yet. It was only going to be temporary, so why not? Half off the rent for a few months would totally help us with the down payment and expenses. They moved in February. When March rolled around, I transferred half of my usual rent to my parents. My mom called to ask me where the rest was. I said I assumed that Brad was paying the other half. Nope, I had to pay all the rent. I asked why I had to pay for them to stay in my house. My mom said it wasn't my house yet and that I was being mouthy. Oh no. I saw the writing on the wall. I paid the rent and started looking. We had a good amount saved up and we didn't need a big old house with lots of maintenance issues we had been handling. We paid the full rent in April as well, but we moved out and into the house that we closed on. It was ready for immediate possession. With my husband and I having a decent income and 25% down, it went smoothly. The only downside is the much smaller yard, but it's a block away from a public park, so we aren't losing much. I did tell my parents we were leaving. May 1st, I got another call from my mom. She wanted the rent. I said I wasn't living there anymore. She said I was breaking our deal. I said that our deal never included me paying for my brother's living expenses. She said that they couldn't afford to cover the mortgage without my rent. I told her to get money from my brother. He was still working. She said he was trying to pay his debts. I said that his wife should get a job. I could write a much longer post just on this discussion. Long story short, she said I was being cheap and vicious to my brother and to my parents. We are settling into our new-ish house and just ignoring them for a while, but I'm wondering about if maybe I'm in the wrong. Am I the astronaut? Hell no. Hell no. They just tried to manipulate the shit out of you. They're like, who is doing the best in the family right now? Oh, that's easy. That's easy. She'll pay for it. We'll guilt her into paying for it, Harold. It'll be fine. We'll just guilt her. I'm her mother. Of course I can guilt her. Yes, Johnny, or what's his name? What's the brother's name? Do we get his name? Brad. Yes, Brad, of course you can live there. And we'll just keep charging your sister, 100% of the same rent still. It'll be fine. It'll be absolutely fine. Good on you, OP, for drawing the line and for being like, you know what? I'm getting myself out of this shitty situation. And I think that you did it the right way by taking action instead of just bitching about it. Even if you would have stood up to her and been like, no, I'm opposed to this. I'm not doing it. You knew what her play was. Her rebuttal was always guilt, 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 guilt. You've seen her playbook. You know what's in there. So you extracted yourself from the shitty situation immediately. And now you're taking a break from the toxicity in your new abode. Congratulations. As a housewarming gift, you get silence from them for a while, which is fantastic. You only get silence if you block them, but still, you decided to gift yourself silence. Well done. Well done. They saw her as a penny back. Oh, yeah, nails by Kizzy. Tell me you have a favorite kid without telling me you have a favorite kid. Hey, Dusty Thunder here, and I wanted to thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that content, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. Also, you can find swag and so much more at dusty-thunder.com, and you'll find even more content on all of our platforms. We're on TikTok, YouTube. We now have an official Facebook page that we'll be posting stories to as well. We have podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and so much more. You can see all of our content platforms on Linktree, which is linked in my bio. Engage with us wherever you're enjoying content, and do your best to avoid the Askonauts today. Thanks again.